I'm Professor Vybarr Cregan-Reid, and I'm going to be talking to you about a first-year module called Romantic Ecologies and the Modern Invention of Nature. It's a module broadly about Romanticism, which is roughly the period from 1789 to 1832, but it's really about how the poetry and the literature of that period impacts on our contemporary thinking today. So how can nature be invented? Well, before the Romantic era, writers such as Daniel Defoe, the author of Robinson Crusoe, talked of the horror and the ugliness and quote, the unhospitable terror of places like this in the Lake District. 100 years later, and the reputation of the region had been completely transformed into a place of beauty and of contemplation. So in Romantic Ecologies, we'll look at what happened to the natural world in the century between Defoe and the Romantic poets, especially figures like Wordsworth and Shelley and Charlotte Smith, and how the debates produced during this period are ones that we're still struggling to make sense of and to understand the impact of today. In many ways, the legacy of Romanticism might be seen in our understanding of things like global warming and climate change, informed as it is by romantic concerns that urge us not to put the natural world into a frame on a wall or to see it as something distant and far away that we might visit on holiday. Instead, they tried to make sense of what we were risking the loss of in the crazed rush to mechanisation and technology and urban living and leisure. Throughout the module, the poetry, the fiction and the essays that we'll encounter will explore the ways that the Romantics saw this newly emergent natural world as restorative and political, even revolutionary. The place where our bodies really and truly belong, an analogue of the mind, a reminder of who we are as a species and the threat of extinction that results in our forgetting it, and how they were cynical about it being put to use for our benefit and suspicious of how it could be profited from. This module will show that the concerns of the Romantics are not a matter of literary history. They're not something that just happened 200 years ago in the past. These are concerns that are still with us, as are their concerns about the environment. I look forward to seeing you next year.